I have a Theremin here that I've hooked up to control the colors of the lights in the room. So in this first example, I'm going to be using the pitch of the Theremin to control the color of the light behind me, and then the volume of the Theremin to control its brightness. So let me just get that started here. So it starts out as red, and then as I move through the scale, moves through the entire spectrum back to red again. And then if I introduce the volume control here, so with my other hand, as I reduce the volume, brightness goes down, bring the volume back up, brightness gets restored. So what you end up with is this really interesting mapping as you're playing along between your hand position, the sounds that you're hearing, and then the color and brightness that you're seeing. So it's a little bit like having synesthesia as you're playing along. And you can get some it's real-time feedback. It's not quite fast enough to have vibrato. You get a little bit of the effect, but not really fine grain feedback right now, just because it's not updating quite fast enough. So the idea of actually using this to kind of understand when you're hitting the right note is actually what inspired the second version of the experiment here. So now I'm going to be using the Theremin to control both lights, so the light above me and then the light behind me as well. And I just got this Theremin. I don't really know how to play it or really what I'm doing with it. And I have a lot of trouble actually hitting the right notes. And the inspiration here was, what if I could use these lights to actually tell me when I'm hitting the notes properly? I know there's like a little screen down here that's actually telling me what note I'm currently playing, but what if you didn't have that? What if you're just looking at these lights? So now the light behind me is actually going to be showing green when I'm at a middle C exactly, and the light above me is going to be showing green when I'm at a high C exactly. Otherwise they're going to be red, and then as I get closer to each of the target notes, it will approach green. So let me try to find the middle C first here. It's based on the color and the sound. Maybe somewhere here. So somewhat close. And then I can hit the high C much more easily because it's just at the far extreme over here. And now the light above me is turned green. So I can shift between the two. Let me just reset some of the lights here so I'm not in red. So as you can imagine, once you get more lights, and you can create entire environments that are kind of responding to how you're playing the Theremin, and you can actually create some really interesting mappings. So in the first example, I was just showing how you can map the pitch to an individual color, but you can actually have something much more complicated as well. So you could have things responding to where you are in a piece, or how you're playing, or just anything you can imagine pretty much with the Theremin here. The way this is all implemented is the Theremin is a MIDI Theremin, and it's transmitting data over to the computer here, which then translates the MIDI data into colors and then updates the two lights. I'll be posting the actual code for this to GitHub, so if you want to try experimenting with the Theremin and using it to control various things, you can use this code. It's not very complex, it's mostly just duct tape hooking everything together. And I think it opens up some really interesting possibilities. One, with actually doing things like controlling colors and lights and other things as you're playing along, but then also controlling anything you can imagine. The Theremin is just a really cool input device because it's pretty magical to just be able to wave your hand through the air. And then, if I go back to the first example here, just waving your hand through the air, having that sound play, and now the color adjusts too. That's kind of a magical experience that you don't really see too much. And to think that this was something that was invented before computers and everything, it makes it all, it's even more amazing because of that, I think. It kind of still feels analog in a way, even though this setup is very digital. So I think there's a lot of really cool possibilities here. If you have any ideas on how you could actually use a Theremin to control things or fun project ideas, just let me know, and be sure to check out the code on GitHub too if you're interested in seeing how all this is set up. So stay tuned.